would be nervous till the time I faced the first ball. Once I played the first ball, then I was absolutely comfortable, and then my natural instincts took over. People have started calling me God and all those kind of things, but I felt good when people expected something from me, and that inspired me to go out and push myself harder. I've just loved playing cricket. It was never a burden. Cricket has given me life. For me, cricket will always be the ultimate.
Batsmen walk out in the middle alone, not Tendulkar. Every time Tendulkar walks to the crease, a whole nation, tatters and all, marches with him to the battle arena. A pauper people pleading for relief, remission from the lifelong anxiety of being Indian, by joining in spirit their visored savior.
Sachin is just an incredible player, quality player.
You got to find it tough to get someone who is better equipped than Sachin.
Oh my God, like Sachin was in a different league. He was like meditating every time he batted. He was unbelievable.
Mentally very strong, technically absolutely sound, and beautiful to watch as well.
He has all the strokes of the world.
He's in a dream world. How beautiful he plays.
He was so good. He was naturally so good.
I would say, that he's superhuman.
For him to maintain his pressure and his performance for 2 decades under the spotlight that he was under is amazing.
He's the ultimate batsman, without a doubt.
When we were in school, he was a famous kid, doing certain things which normal kids in school would not even dream of. We didn't know anything else. I think Sachin didn't know anything else other than playing cricket or batting. We started the nets in the morning. 7 till 9 he batted in 2 hours in the nets. 9:30 the game started, which was just ground next by. So he batted throughout the day. And then again at 4:30 till about 7 o'clock in the evening, he went on to practice. So literally from 7 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock in the evening, 12 hours of constant batting.
Sachin Tendulkar's career would owe much to his first coach, Ramakant Artrikar, who would harness his dedication and talent.
I honestly feel that there would never be another Ramakant Artrikar, so there would be never another Sachin Tendulkar. I think he was an institution. No matter what your technique is, yes, you need to have a little bit of technique, but the temperament improves only if you play in a match situation. And that's what he believed in.
And the renowned coach would ensure that the young Sachin would never be short of matches.
Sachin used to get a 50 in the first innings. There was always retiring after 50, so that others got a chance. He used to put him on his scooter and go to another ground. And then Sachin used to bat in the second innings of that game. And as soon as he came in, there was a crowd behind him, about, say, a crowd of 25, 30 office goers just to watch him bat. And there was a 14 or 15-year-old kid who was pulling a crowd.
One school match saw a young Tendulkar break a world record for the biggest partnership in cricket. A stand of 664 with Vinod Kambli meant the batsman due in next had a long wait.
First, there was anxiety. That anxiety turned into, a little bit of a frustration. I was just thinking, when am I going to get a bat? After that frustration part, I think I gave up on that. And I said, I might as well enjoy this because this is terrific.
We used to have the system in India where in your school level cricket, they pick 25 of the best performers of the year, and then they have a national camp. That's the first time I saw, and I saw him, just keep batting. So there were 25 of us, and at times they would have to pull him out of the nets for others to go in and bat. So That's when I realized that the amount of love he has for the game.
Well, that time I was India's captain, and we had net practice session at the CCI. So I asked him to come because I wanted to see him and how good he is. At that age, at the age of 15, I think he played so well. He was extremely impressive. In the same evening, we had selection for Mumbai team. So they picked him in a team.
He made his domestic cricket debut at the age of 15 plus. He made 100 in his first match in Ranji Trophy, first match in Duleep Trophy, first match Irani Trophy. These are the three major tournaments in India. He made a century in all three of them.
He was batting against me, and I had played a couple of years of international cricket. But I felt that I was playing for the first time, and he has been playing international cricket for the past couple of years. I went to my coach, and I told him, I said, sir, I've seen something very different. And remember this name, Sachin Tendulkar, because you're going to hear this name for a long time to come.
India were to tour the West Indies, March, April, and he was doing so well for Mumbai in his first season that there was a strong chance that he would be taken. And the selectors decided not to choose him because they felt he is too young. The West Indies quick bowlers might hit him and injure him, and he might lose his confidence forever. He might come back shattered. We asked him, are you disappointed? He says, I'm extremely disappointed. I said, why are you disappointed? You're only 15, and the selectors feel that they're shielding you from the fast bowlers. You might get injured. So he says, if I get injured, I'll learn quicker. If I get hit, I'll grow faster.
When we read in the papers, is some 16 years old got picked up for Indian tour. Me and Vakar looked at each other and had a chat. 16 years old is 16 years old. Come on.
He was a young boy. I mean, no moustache, no shaving when he first walked onto the field.
And I did ask him when he came out to bed, have you took permission from your teacher?
But there was nothing funny about Tendulkar's brutal introduction to Test cricket. A Waqar Younis bouncer hitting him on the head that left him dazed.
I think it did affect him in the positive, because he went after Waqar after that. He started scoring runs as if, he's been there for a long time.
I think he was a brave boy at that age, getting hit on the head and then come out and get runs. Overnight become from boy to a man. I think that's what Sachin did.
It was that hit that woke him up, that now I'm going to prove the world that I'm made for this international cricket.
By the end of the tour, we started feeling that, yeah, kid can play, he can bat.
That by the time Sachin went to the next series, everybody knew that we better be careful of this boy. He can really hit the ball hard. The pressure of expectations is something that Sachin lived all his cricketing life, all 24 years. Ever since he hit the big time with his world records, the spotlight was on him. There was a lot of pressure when he came to England.
Tendulkar would answer any doubts in the second test on the 1990 tour of England at Old Trafford. The 17-year-old rescued his more experienced teammates from defeat with his first test century, scoring 119 not out. Double centuries in Australia in 1992 were further evidence that the young Sachin had adapted to test match cricket.
He just smashed Australia. His 100 in Perth, I still say that's his best test 100. Against McDermott, Hughes, Whitney, he was a 17, 18-year-old boy. Just see the way he batted, the way he played off the back foot, off the front foot, against a genuine pace attack. The conditions, I thought, made it very, very good.
Sachin Tendulkar moves to 96. He's facing Craig McDermott from the members' end. Drives, that could be it. Beats mid-on. Yes, it does. What a fine performance by Sachin Tendulkar. A magnificent innings by this young man.
His displays attracted attention across the globe. English county side Yorkshire chose Tendulkar to become their first non-Yorkshire player in the summer of 1992.
It actually changed him. When he came back, he was speaking more. There was a measure of confidence in his speech. He didn't make too many runs. He realized that it's not that I just go out to bat and I get a big score every time I walk out into the middle. I have to really work hard for my runs. Here he came back a very confident young man.
That confidence was clear to see in a one-day series in 1994 against New Zealand. The course of Tendulkar's career was about to change forever.
"20 minutes before the toss, Sidhu comes to me and tells me, "Sir, I'm sorry, I had twisted my ankle while practicing, and I'll not be able to, walk even." So I was worried, whom to send an opening bat. And Sachin was listening to the conversation. Sachin said, "Sir, will you allow me to open?" I told Sachin, if you lose your wicket early, then we would have it because we had to win this match. So he said, "Don't worry, sir, I'll be there till the end."
A superb knock of 82 saw Tendulkar cement his place at the top of the batting order.
Best thing for him was when he started opening. It completely transformed him as a batsman. He got 50 overs to bat. He started making one-day hundreds, and he became a lot better player. He didn't have to do anything different to be attacking. He just had to make sure that he played a few more shots to the same deliveries. He had this ability of, hitting a good delivery on the offside and then hitting the same delivery through the onside. And he just did that a lot more in one-day cricket than he did it in test matches.
As he headed into the new millennium, Tendulkar was on his way to becoming a true great, but his spells as captain were to prove less successful.
His captaincy was undoubtedly the low point of his career because he had a couple of stints as captain and both times the results were just not good enough.
I think we were not a good team then. I think we were not a good team in 97, 98. We never played well overseas. I'm a firm believer that a captain is as good as his team. At the same time, you have to create your team. That's an important part of captaincy. You have to build a team, but somehow probably Sachin did not manage to do that.
He was just too eager to prove that he is as good a captain as he is a player. And therefore, he was asking his team to do things which they were not capable of doing.
His successor as captain would be Sourav Ganguly, and together the pair flourished.
We turned it around in 2000, since 2000, where Sachin himself was an important part in the turnaround. And I just played my game, he just played his game. As we kept playing, we got to know each other's game a lot more. At times, from his footwork, I could make out what he was trying. So I would just go up to him and say that, listen, don't do this. You don't need to do this, just play normally, just get set. There were days when he would try to accelerate, but he wouldn't get the rhythm, he wouldn't get the timing. And I would just quietly go up and say that, listen, hang around. Just let these 2-3 overs go, play some defensive shots, and you'll make it up.
During this period, Tendulkar would surpass the great Don Bradman's tally of 29 Test centuries, his 30th coming against England in the 2002 tour. Sachin and his team's emergence as a world power in cricket mirrored that of India as a country.
From 91 onwards, India opened up economically. So there was more reward for merit, financial reward, as well as in terms of fame. The media grew, so the message, the gospel of Sachin spread faster and wider. He became iconic as a player and symbolic of all that can accrue to a great performer or a great achiever in the new modern India.
He is the god of cricket. I mean, there are a couple of gods in India, but you can see literally there's drawings depicting him as the god of cricket. The respect isn't the word. They worship him. I mean, they really worship him.
He became the glue, the binding force for the country. People of all denominations, all ages, all religions.
He can't go out and enjoy the fame and the wealth that he's acquired and achieved because he needs 10 security guards, not because he's under threat, but just people just want to touch him.
They all saw in Sachin as a convergence point. As long as Sachin was there, everybody felt Indian. And that actually created a huge burden of expectation.
That expectation meant Tendulkar would be scrutinised more than any other cricketer. And during a disappointing start to the tour in Australia at the end of 2003, people were questioning whether 15 years of Test cricket were taking their toll. In the run-up to the 4th Test in Sydney, Sachin was having real problems with deliveries outside the off-stump.
But by Sydney, he was just spewing. You could see, again, like a Lara or like a Warne, he was a winner and he commanded and demanded results of himself. And he knew that we were going to be patient. Didn't play a shot outside off stump. I just found that amazing. And Tendulkar was just, you know what, I'm going to take out any potential chance of me getting out. This sort of says it all, really. We were planning on just keeping him quiet and taking him out of the attack, but gradually, like, he wore us down. It was brilliant. It was a brilliant strategic innings.
241 not out, and Tendulkar would continue to make the runs. On the 17th of October 2008, he passed Brian Lara's tally of 11,953 runs and became the highest Test run scorer in history. Indian celebrations were not to last. 6 weeks later, the Mumbai terror attacks sent the country into mourning. England were touring at the time, and security was tight when the tourists faced India in Chennai. India were chasing an improbable 387.
And I didn't expect India to win, but then Sachin came and got that magnificent 100.
I think the most meaningful 100 has to be the one that I scored against England in 2008 in Chennai. Whole nation needed something, you know, where we could divert our attention, even if it was for a short span. It was a difficult period for all Indians across the globe, not just in India. And I felt really proud that I could do something which allowed people to smile, which was even greater satisfaction.
It's not easy when, 1 billion people look up to you every time. The pressure, that kind of pressure can break a lesser man. He's carried it all his life.
There were some test matches in Mumbai, and I really don't know how the umpires went on doing their job, because there's so much noise there.
I was singing Sachin, 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 Sachin. It was like a rock concert. It was like one of the Beatles walking out of that era. It was like unbelievable. In India, Sachin, mate, it's a different league.
Everybody wanted him to bat forever. So that is why you used to, get that pin drop silence when he used to get out.
A guy like Sachin certainly stood out and carried a great load every time he, of pressure every time he walked to the crease with all the Indian supporters. So to have handled all of that for so long, still be as humble as he is and still work as hard as he does, it's probably why he's gifted for sure, but he got the whole package.
I just cannot understand or believe how modest and down-to-earth character he is. He's such a legend and so famous. To be so humble and modest and down-to-earth in a country like that where they are just cricket mad, where he literally cannot walk outside the front of a hotel without getting mobbed by 1,000 Indians, to have no ego whatsoever, to be, just a down-to-earth, decent bloke, it's just phenomenal.
His ability to remain humble would be tested when India co-hosted the 2011 World Cup, a tournament Tendulkar and 1 billion people were desperate to win.
No team had won a World Cup final at home, and I think that had maybe something to do with the pressure on the host nation. And we had identified that 13 months out from the World Cup. One of the things we did is every single team meeting, we being Gary Kirsten, myself, would always use the language, when we play the final in Mumbai on the 3rd of April. The players have been so conditioned to knowing exactly what we were going to do by the time we got to the World Cup.
India navigated safely through the group stages, with Tendulkar as ever leading by example. Against South Africa, he would record his 99th international century.
The little things just seem to be going their way, that their good players just seem to be in form at the right time, and it just seemed to be falling their way. So you the writing was sort of on the wall that, okay, maybe it's their time to win the World Cup.
In the quarter-final, Tendulkar hit 53 as India defeated holders Australia. A nation began to dream. Rivals Pakistan were their opponents in the semi-final, and an innings of 85, in a man-of-the-match performance, guided India to the final.
I always refer to my team talk the night before the final. I said to the guys, this is like a movie. We all know the script. We have the right actors. We know exactly what parts we need to play. All that remains is for us to go now and play the part that we've been rehearsing, and we'll cross the line ahead of the other guys.
The opponents were to be Sri Lanka in Tendulkar's hometown ground. a raucous Wankhede Stadium. Sri Lanka won the toss and chose to bat and set an impressive target of 275. India's reply got off to a terrible start. Virender Sehwag was given out on the second ball. Once again, India looked to their god of cricket, and he seemed to be answering their prayers. But in the 7th over, the unthinkable happened. The trophy they seemed so destined to win was slipping away. Tendulkar had got India to the final, but it was left to his captain, MS Dhoni, to keep India in the match. And then, in the penultimate over,
after Dhoni hit that six, it was incredible ecstasy. And then probably the next 5 minutes was disbelief. I must have said to Gary, between us probably 10 times, we sort of looked at each other and said, can you believe that we've just won the World Cup? And then it was just incredible celebrations and partying and lots of love and hugging.
The whole country was rooting for him. It was a very emotional 2-month period in India, because wherever he went, there was this thing that, you know, and the team also felt like that. Some of those guys were toddlers when, you know, Virat Kohli must have been in his nappies when Sachin started playing. So they all also felt, they got consumed by this wave of nostalgia and hope, both running concurrently for Sachin to do it this time.
You could see it on his face. He didn't have to speak. If you look at the pictures, he was up on the shoulders of his teammates going around the Wankhede Stadium. It was fantastic. It's his home ground. That's where he played all his cricket, and to win a World Cup at his home ground was fabulous.
it was the crowning glory of an illustrious career for Tendulkar. And a year later, against Bangladesh, he would record an historic 100th international century. In November 2013, Sachin Tendulkar walked off the field for the last time, his place in cricket history forever secured.
When he got retired, I felt on my heart as well. I said, oh, I can't see Sachin now. The way he walks into the ground, the way he stands on the pitch, the way he plays on offside or leg side or straight, the punch, beautiful. It's wonderful, it's dream, you know. If someone is watching Sachin in a day, it's like a dream.
When he's playing well, he hits the fast bowlers past the umpire. That's Tendulkar's shot for me. When he's playing well and you know that he's in form, he's in good state of mind, he's getting forward like all other batsmen. You get forward, you play well.
I would consider Sachin as the professor of batting. His knowledge of his game, of his technique, of everything about his game was unbelievable.
Sachin played a complete game, where he was mindful of consistency, he was mindful of records, he was mindful of his ability, he was mindful of what the situation was, when to dominate, when not to.
I look at Sachin Tendulkar, man, to have played that long and to accomplish what he would have accomplished, man, that's going to be hard to beat.
The body of work he's done over 24 years, for the pressure of expecting, there have been only two who have had this kind of pressure. One is Sir Donald Bradman, the other is Sachin Tendulkar. And Sir Donald Bradman didn't have 1 billion people watching his or dogging his every step.
Indian cricket, it has grown ever since the evolution of Tendulkar. I think he has revolutionized the game in India. He brought in a lot of sponsors. With that, the passion grew of people. It was always there, but it became even bigger after him.
Sachin Tendulkar gave the entire nation, the Indian diaspora, wherever they were, in Australia, in America, in England, Sachin became such a symbol of their own hopes and aspirations and the emerging India. The India which is breaking in many ways from its past.
The talent and the happiness what he's given to us, to the country, and to the cricketing world.
He's superhuman. simply because it's humanly impossible to stay on ground all the time after achieving so much in cricket.
The best the world have ever seen. The record speaks more than anything. The most test runs, 100 international hundreds. That's unheard of. Nobody's going to break that record.